Okay, so I really want you to understand this before looking at any commands, because this is where we will find some interesting stuff. So before starting the video, let me tell you something. This is the ongoing part of manual enumeration of Linux for privilege escalation. If you are interested in learning more, you can check out the rest of the video that I have already uploaded. Now let's get back to the video. So the thing is, when a service start in Linux, that could be like a web server, database, or anything. It just what happens in the background is that it just kind of bend or connect to a specific port, and then that specific service wait for something to establish the connection with. The simple example of this will be like for example, you have your phone in hand and you are waiting for someone call. This just means that you are waiting right now for the connection to be established with the person who is going to call you, and once he calls you, the connection will be established. So if I go over here, and you can see right here that the service actually bends in two different way. One is, I hope you can see that, uh, let me make it like big. Yeah, so you can see right here, when you see like this, it just means that I will answer any call from anyone anywhere. It's like a public one, and then we have this one. We just start from the 127, and this thing, it just, if we translate this, is it will just mean I will only answer call from this machine, like kind of local host and the public or internet, this one. So let's imagine this specific scenario. A developer like kind of set up the MySQL database. Okay, so he just made the database for the application, and what he is thinking right now is that the database that he just stores some data in that, what he need to do is he need to connect that with the web application on the same machine. So what he will do is he will just make this MySQL database on netstat on localhost, so that only the web server will be able to connect to that and just fetch the data from the database. This line right here, from the internet nobody can reach it. Like, it's like the developer might think that since I have made this MySQL database on listening state only for local host, okay, like on the same machine, not for the internet, so he might be thinking that this is a safe way and nobody on the internet will reach to this database and connect to it and then fetch the data. So they just don't set any credential to connect to that database. Now here is the critical part. Since you have got the initial access on the Linux, and in the previous video we have talked that sometimes a single machine can have multiple interfaces, and this is the same thing. So for example, there is one interface that is connected to the internet. I have got the access and can control the compromised Linux machine through it. And then we have the local network. Since we are on the same machine, it means like we can also reach to this network, and if we can reach to this, we can also reach to the database that he just set and stored the credential for the web application. And as I said, he just, sometimes the developer think that it's safe and they don't set any credential for it. So it's a gold mine for us. We can just read what's inside in the database. So we can try something like this. If the MySQL database is there, this is just example. Okay, so when you type like this is specific localhost IP. You can see right here, it might just drop you straight into the database with no password. Now to see the open ports and listening services, we have these some commands. So this is for modern Linux. When you type this, you will get to see the listening services and stuff. Okay, now here just also made the breakdown of what these flags are. So the -a means show all sockets, both listening and active connection. When you use this, it will show all of the connection that is in the listening state and active as well. And then we have the n just help us to show the port number instead of the port name. Like, it will show 80 not HTTP. And then we have the p flag, which this p will show which process is on each socket. So we will get to see this, and this is the same stuff, but for kind of for older system. You can also type this specific thing on Windows. You will get to see all of the listing services. Okay, so I'm just gonna go to my Linux and type the same command. As you can see, I have typed the same command, and we have got a bunch of processes and the connection. Some made the connection stable and some are still listening. So what I'm gonna do right now is break down these bunch of columns, the important one, and tell you what these are. So the first one, you see this proto. Sometime or somewhere is like in Windows, you will see it as net id. So what this means, this just specify the protocol type. Is it gonna be TCP or UDP? So TCP is like transmission control protocol, and it's more reliable. It makes sure that your data is being sent and received 100% perfectly. And then we have the UDP. It just means the user datagram protocol, and it's a bit faster. It's faster because it does not like really check. The simple example of this will be like streaming. Most streaming platform use the UDP protocol. For example, YouTube, Netflix, and many more. Then we have the local address column. I'm just gonna skip these. These are not really important. So the local address, this is very important because this is the whole point of I think this video. So wherever you see the 00, it just mean that the connection will be public, like with the internet. And this is the port number, and wherever you see this, it just mean the local, and it's only reachable from this machine. So like for example, this specific port can accept connection from the internet. Same is the case for the port 80, accepting connection from anyone. And then we have this one, which is the local host. It just only accept the connection from the local host. And then we have the stat column, which just give us information like is the port still open and waiting for connection to someone connect with it, or is it established, or is it time wait. So we only I guess see the listening and established. There is one more, which is the time wait. So the first of all, listen is like as I said, it just means that it is waiting for someone to connect to it. And then we have the established one, which just means that something has already made the connection with this specific thing. So right now we don't see any MySQL server, but in this example you can see right here. I will just give you this example. So for example, yeah, this one, this is the local host, and this is the port which the MySQL database uses. We have a service listening on the local host, and we can connect to that. So if I scroll down over here, since see MySQL is there, we can try to connect to it with and without password, and we might be able to connect to it and get the credential. Similar to this, another IP address and the SSH connection. SSH has I think port 22. It is, yeah. So we can also try to connect to it. We can, if the connection is not established, we can try to connect to it using some default credential. And if we get connected to that, we might be able to do more stuff. And lastly, these are like some important high value ports that we might be looking at. So as I said, this is the MySQL developer often leaves no password on local host installation. And we have is PostgreSQL, same thing, but this port, and this is another thing, as well as these admin portal, like for example the router portal and a bunch more stuff. Yeah, so to summarize this, open port and listing services is a kind of core mine for us. We will see if a specific service is set to public, and can someone from the internet can reach to it, and then we will look for the local host one. The local host one is like very critical, because as I said, the developers might assume that nobody can reach it to this database, and because of that they don't set any password. And once you get the initial access through anyway, you will then be able to also see these database and some other and might see some good information that will help us and getting the better understanding about the network configuration of the compromised machine. And then let's just talk shortly about the firewall. These are like bouncer or security guard that just check every packet coming in and out from your gateway. I hope you might already know about the firewall. What we need here is that there are firewall rules are written by the human, and the thing is these firewall rules are written by human, and I just show that human make mistake, and each of the mistake can be our opportunity. So these are the mistakes. You can just read it out, and to see the firewall rule, I guess you can use either of these tools. So hope this makes sense. If you don't understand, let me know in the comments. I will see you in the next video.